So now we're gonna try out some Hive examples. We're gonna log into the Hive console and we're gonna run some queries, and I'm gonna show you how to create table on top of the data that is residing in either S3 or Hadoop, because it could be any form of file storage. All we have to do is just import the schema on top of it. Okay, so let's get started. So now over here, I have this bucket, dummy bucket X, okay? And inside that, these are the folders that are present. And I'm gonna be using this folder. Under this folder, you can see there are a couple of ORC file, .orc. So these ORC formatted data, I'm gonna create a table on top of that. And I'm gonna show you how to do that and make sure that it's connecting with the S3 properly. So to do that, basically, I'm gonna copy the S3 URI of this path, that is the bucket, along with the folder. And I have my create table statement ready, and I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, so let's go over this create table statement. This is the one that I'm using for the moment, right? So first one is plain and simple create table statement. If not exists, then I'm gonna be creating the table name, that is EV population ORC, and that is under this database data hub. Okay, then comes the fields. One by one, I have put the fields. I know I know what are the attributes, what are the fields that are present in the file. Okay, so I put those accordingly. First one is the country, that is a string data type, city, string again, model year, that is having the integer. Again, make another column, string, electric range having integer, and utility, the last column, that is having string. So this is the first line, create table along with the fields. The second one is I have to specify the format of the table. I mean, I have to specify the files and the data that is residing in which format file. Okay, so since it is an ORC file, if you look over here again, these are all .orc files. Okay, so I'm gonna be putting stored as ORC. The third one is the location. The location is basically where these files are resided. So you can see there are two files. Okay, I'm gonna be imparting the schema on top of these two files. Okay, even if there are only one file, if I wanted a schema of only one file, then I would be copying this S3 URI. But since I'm copying the whole folder, in that case, what's happening is that whatever ORC formatted files are inside this folder, those all will be taken into account. And the schema will be generated based on those files, right? But there is one important note that you have to keep in mind, is that if you copy this S3 URI, then what's happening is giving you in this format S3. But to connect with the Hive metastore, whenever you're trying to create a table in EMR, that is basically a Hadoop cluster, so you have to use the S3A API. Otherwise, it won't work. You will be creating the table, but you won't see any data inside of it. So my create table statement is ready. But before that, let me check if this table is already present or not. Okay. So let me log into the Hive console. So to get into the Hive console, simply I just have to type Hive. That's it. Nothing else. Press enter. And this redirects you to the Hive console. Okay. So when you see this keyword Hive along with this arrow, that means you're inside the Hive console. If Hive is up and running, you can run your queries over here. So first of all, I'm gonna show you the databases that is inside at the moment. So show databases. I have these two databases, that is the data hub and default. So I'm gonna use this one. This one I created for my purpose. So use data hub is the command. Now I'm inside the database, data hub. Let me see the tables that are present inside the data hub. So show tables. So these are the tables present. So I'm gonna be creating this table again. So let me just drop this one. Again, plain and simple query, drop table. The table is dropped. Now I'm gonna be creating the table on top of the data. Okay, I've copied my create table statement. I'm gonna paste it over here. And the table is created. Okay, so let me see the fields that I mentioned. Is it there or not? So I'm gonna do a select star from the table. Let me put a limit over here. So limit basically means it's gonna show only the first 5 fields. Okay, I'm putting limit 5. Had it been limit 10, it would be showing only the first 10 fields. Right. So I can see the data over here. So these are the fields that are present. And if I want to describe this table, let's say describe formatted table name, right? So you can see that these are the fields that I just defined in my create table statement, okay? And it's using the database. This one, the owner is Hadoop, and if you look at the location, it just took the data from this S3 bucket. So this is one simple table that I've created in Hive. Now let me try another one. That would be a partition table. So I have already covered what is partition and how it works. So I'm going to show you one live example how this actually looks in the folder structure. Okay. So let me first try to create the table from the S3 itself, and later on I do have in Hadoop also the same table. Let me just verify that one. Okay, I'm gonna get out of this control. So to do that, I'm just gonna press Control Z, and that's it. The Hive is stopped. Now let me check in the Hadoop what are all the folders present over here. Okay, so I have the social circle folder under which the partition data is present. Let me just go over there. So I have these partition folders. Okay, one is the age category, middle-aged, age category, olders, age category, youth. So if I try to create the table on top of this data, social circle folder, in that case, I will be able to see the partitions age category of middle-aged, old, and youth in the Hive metastore. Okay, let me see how that works. Again, I'm going to be logging in back to the Hive console. All right, I'm going to use the same database. Let's list out the tables again. So this is the table that I already have created. So I'm going to drop this one. Drop table. All right, the table is dropped. Now I'm going to create the table on top of that. So over here, I've put the S3 path. So let me just put the Hadoop path. So Hadoop path was social circle only. I'm going to remove this one. Okay, now to enable the partition, and it's basically dynamically happen. So the data is already residing in Hadoop cluster, right? So whenever I create the table using the partition by command, it should pick those partitions automatically. To enable this property, I'm going to use this one, that is the dynamic partition mode, and put it to true. Sorry, put it to non-strict. Okay, so just press enter, and with this command, now I can easily create the partition table on top of the folder partition data in Hadoop. Again, let me focus on this piece of code. So this create table statement, again, the same thing. I'm just defining the fields over here. There are 4 fields. Then I'm partitioning it by the another field, that is age category. So one thing you have to remember, whatever field I'm using as the partition column, I cannot use the same column over here. Okay, because of the fact that if you remember in the Hadoop cluster what I just showed you, let me go into the S3 again, is the same folder. So inside the social circle output, over here social circle output, in Hadoop I just kept it only social circuit. So these folders, age category, middle aged,